So I just watched this three-part documentary on Hulu called Death in Apartment 603, What Happened to Ellen Greenberg. And when I tell you this documentary pissed me off, it pissed me off. Because essentially the cops let someone get away with murder. Because everything that they talked about in here and the way that things sounded or what's going on. So basically, Ellen Greenberg passes away. Her fiance comes and he went to go work out and he came back home and the door was locked and he couldn't get in the house and he had to break the door down and he found her. And so they ruled it a homicide. They ruled it a suicide. Trigger warning, I apologize. But so they ruled it a suicide, and once the police ruled it a suicide, so they ruled it a suicide. She went and did the autopsy, and the coroner said it was homicide because she was stabbed in the back. And it's like the police didn't even. I don't understand why they ruled it a homicide without even checking the body. So because they ruled it a homicide, they didn't even block off the apartment. So it was there was no crime scene tape or anything like that. So because it's in an apartment, the apartment manager, she had called a crime scene cleanup crew to come and clean up the place like the next day or the day after, because his family, the fiance's family, wanted to come and get some things, some personal belongings for the funeral, because she was Jewish and she had to, the funeral, based on the tradition, their funeral is like immediately after or whatever. So the fiance's family came to get some personal belongings for the funeral. Not her family, but the fiance's family. Question mark right there. So because they call in them, the manager of the place, she called the crime scene investigators. She went in and took some pictures just in case, so to say like nothing was taken, just to make sure that nothing was taken when the crime scene, when they came and did the cleanup, so that she wouldn't be liable. And so they came, did the cleanup. The fiance's family came, got the stuff that they needed, her personal, like her devices and stuff like that. And it's just like, first of all, if y'all are getting stuff for her funeral, the only thing that y'all really need to be getting was her clothes. Why are y'all touching her devices or anything like that? Why is her family not doing that? Like, yeah, that's your fiance, but that's not your husband. He's not the next of kin. So why was it his family doing all of this stuff? That just was, whatever. Then the police, even the management people, they called his family to tell his family that she passed away. And then his family then in turn called her family to tell him. And it's just like, why is nobody talking to her family first? Why are they only speaking with his family? Doesn't make sense. Also, when the coroner ruled it a homicide instead of a suicide, the family, her parents, found out on the news the morning of her funeral. So yet again, the police did not reach out to the family to tell them this. So it's like they failed, the police, coroners, all of them, they failed that family, her family, like from the beginning, like off rip, they failed her. And it's like, I feel so bad because this happened in 2011 and we are now in 2025, and her family had to sue the city of Philadelphia just to get them to change the autopsy, because after all of that rigmarole and all of that other extra stuff, the coroner changed the autopsy back to a suicide instead of a homicide so they wouldn't investigate it. Because of some things that they had seen on her devices, and it was just like, yet again, the devices, there's a chain of custody issue because the devices were in his family's possession at the time that y'all got it back to check all these things. So it's just like, what? So they had to sue them just to get the coroner to, and I hope it's the coroner, but you know, the person who does the autopsy, they had to sue them to get the case reopened, just so they can investigate it. So they got the case reopened. The city still hasn't looked into it. So they got the case reopened, and then they said they were going to investigate. The city still hasn't investigated. And we're now in 2025, and I think they just recently had a court date on October 14th, from what the documentary said. They had a court date for October 14th where they were going to have to get some more information because, again, they did not investigate this. So at this point, again, it is 14 years later, and any evidence that they could have had is like all gone at this point. It's like everything is gone because, again, they cleaned up the crime scene. So any evidence that would have shown something outside of a suicide is all gone. And it's like, it's like, how did, like, she was stabbed in the back. She had a blunt force trauma to her head. How did y'all come to the conclusion that this was a suicide? Like, it doesn't make any sense. But yeah, that documentary, it was a really good watch. Like I said, it pissed me off. It's on Hulu. It's called A Death in Apartment 403 or 603. I'm so sorry, y'all. Death in Apartment 603, What Happened to Ellen Greenberg. Y'all check it out.